All right, it's 6:00 p.m. I'm going to call the council to order. So please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
May we pray. Kind and gracious Father, thank you for this day and thank you for your blessings. Father, we ask for your wisdom as we're going to discuss about the issues that are facing the citizen of Keene and also Johnson County. We ask for your blessings as we pray all this, believing in the name of Jesus Christ as our Savior. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Y'all may be seated. All right, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. This is Thursday, September 5, 2024. We have a quorum present. Councilmember John. Okay, at this time, we're going to move to agenda item number 2, mayor announcements. I only have one announcement tonight. I just want to remind everyone about National Night Out. It's coming up on Tuesday, October 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to take place here in the parking lot of City Hall. I understand there's going to be snow cones, a dunking booth, lots of activities, and a chance for the community to bond with the police, the firefighters, and the Keene City Hall staff. So I hope everybody can come to that event. That should be great. Mr. Battler, are we having a 9/11 event? That was my question to you. I forgot to ask.
Turn that to the...
Yes, Mayor, we are. It'll be a small ceremony that morning. We'll put out an announcement.
Okay, and you're going to post about that. Okay. All right, that's it for me. Council, do you have any other announcements that you would like to make? Okay. We're going to move on to agenda item number 3, public comments. All right, I just have a couple of speaker cards during this time. Paul Knott, if you'd like to step forward.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening. We're just here to remind you about or to alert you of the Keene City Council Candidates Forum, which will be Tuesday night, October 15th at the Keene Community Center. Doors are going to open at 6 o'clock. The City Council Candidates Forum will be from 6:30 to 7:45, and the Mayoral Candidates Forum will be from 8 until 9. You have a single sheet of unusually white paper here from me for that, and we'll get this to the other candidates also. So, Tuesday, October 15th, for you and for our viewers there in the Keene Community Center. The number 2, there's been some concern recently about the questions and that we've used the same questions over and over. So, in that regard, the Keene City Council Candidates Forum Planning Committee is holding a town hall next Monday. That's September 9th, 6 o'clock in the community center. And we're asking all registered voters, if you'd like to have input on the questions for the candidates forum, why, please be there that night, and we can put some good questions together and have a really good forum. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knott.
Thank you.
All right, the next public speaker is Samantha Gillen.
Samantha Gillen, 218 West 4th Street, Keene, Texas. Council, Mayor, City Manager. Wanted to make 2 things first. Number 1, everybody who knows Michael Williams, he had a serious accident, fractured his back, broke his neck, and had a punctured lung. He is doing okay. He is still alive, thank God. But we did set up a fund at Pinnacle Bank for anybody that would want to donate to him for some of his expenses. He's one of our veterans from Vietnam, and so he needs help. Just letting you know that. Second thing is that I know all the gentlemen from the horse barn are here about the tax appraisal situation again. And I just have some comments that I would like to make on this. I'm not an expert on any of it, but what I hear, what I see, what I've read, this is kind of something I would like to go over. First, the tax appraisal issue should not be happening in Keene. We do not have the state power to do anything about this, and one man can't do it all. He gets instructions from the state. And this has been used as a personal agenda, in my opinion, for the election stuff, and Mr. Hudspeth is kind of caught in the middle here. He cannot lower the appraisal values. That should be taken to Austin only. Our representatives in Austin are the ones that we should be writing to, calling, going down there and standing on their doorstep or whatever we need to do on that. Also, I know only Austin can make that happen, and again, not Mr. Hudspeth. Our mayor, you do know that if we lower for example, if we lowered our taxes by 50%, then we would lose 50% of the income. Then Keene would have to start cutting back on the services that we all enjoy here in Keene, which is, I don't think anybody's wanting to do that. I have property here too, and of course I don't like the high taxes. I have to pay those too as well as everybody else. But again, one man can't fix that. It's the state, and we all need to get in our cars and go down there if we want that fixed. And that includes the horse barn people, okay? Because these meetings take up time, and nobody can do anything about it. Your vote tonight is not going to make a difference. You will be putting something on one man the state needs to take care of. And then if it's not done, he gets new instructions and it's not done, then ask for his no confidence in him. And, excuse me. And Mayor, I don't believe most of the citizens in Keene know that you are an admin on the horse barn website for the taxes. I didn't know our mayor could do that, but I guess you can, because you are. And you've blocked people out of there that wanted to be a part of that, and that's not right. And so I wish there could be some kind of a neutral ground here to where everybody can get the information they need without being blocked from your personal mayor page, from any other page, that we want to get this information about our city and what's happening with our city. And I would think you, of all people, could bring everybody together and get this kind of stuff done by not doing it yourself. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gillen. All right, that's all the public yellow cards that I have. All right, council, we do have several individuals that are here tonight that want to specifically be here for agenda item number 7A. Is there any objection to us to going ahead and moving to that agenda item now, or would you like me to go ahead and stay in order of the agenda?
I want to stay where it is. They can wait their turn.
Okay,
So let's go through the agenda, because we've moved this forward before, and it's taken forever, so let's.
all right, council, do you agree with Ms. Beeson? You want to go ahead and just go in order, or jump to agenda item number 7A? Do I have a consensus? Mr. Foster?
The only thing in between is the consent agenda, right?
I'm sorry?
The only item we're going to be dealing with next is the consent agenda. So
Okay, you want to stay in order?
I may as well, I don't see anything that would
Yes.
Okay,
take up a bunch of time between now and then, with all respect to our visitors.
all right, moving forward with agenda item number 4, reports. Receive and discuss the city manager's report. Mr. Batla?
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a few things to report. We've had quite a year with facility maintenance and repair. We've had to repair 6 HVAC units at City Hall this year alone, which are not cheap units. Those are big units. So we've been had a lot of issues with those, and you know about our IT issues. We've been fighting through them and getting things fixed. So, but the good news is we think we've gotten on top of most of those things, minus the sign out there. We're still working on that one. So, let me see, just a reminder, the collection box issue is on the next agenda. That's something you had asked us to look into. Saver Keene, we didn't get a lot of traction with that. And so we've rescheduled that, and we're going to put a committee together and may rebrand that a little bit. So our Saver Keene event has been canceled and rescheduled to be determined. So, last but not least, I would like to address the utility billing issue. I know there was a lot of discussion on social media about the utility billing, some people's bills being high. So we really dug into this. I'd like to pass out a July billing report. July is typically a pretty high month anyway, as far as billing. Last year, we actually billed $33,000 more in water consumption than we did this year. So we didn't notice anything abnormally historically high to start with. The next thing is we contacted our Hydro Pro Solutions, and they're the ones that are kind of over the technology on our meter reading. And we've looked at several physically that were in question. We have not found any issues physically with the meters. Now, I know we have had a billing issue in the past with FundView that we had to correct. We've gone and looked through everything in question, and we have not found any billing issues. We have not found any errors in the billing. So, but I want to make it clear in no uncertain terms, I want everybody to be comfortable that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that their water bill is right. So if they want to come up, you know, we will physically go out, we will physically look at the meter, we will look at their water bill and go over that with them. You know, on the ones we did look at, we found several leaks, but more so we found just high consumption, and that may be something as simple as a soaker hose in July. Okay, so I'm not in any way discounting people's concerns that it's just high consumption, but so far we've dug into it all week and we have not found any billing errors or water meter errors. So just wanted to give you an update on that. And that is all I have. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, council, for Mr. Batlow? Okay, agenda item 4B, receive and discuss a report on the update of the sidewalk portion crossing a creek at Southeastern Street and East First Street. Thank you.
Well, as you remember, we left off there at First Street on Eastern, where First Street, and there's a creek that crosses there. So I got a little video here from a couple of years ago to show you how much water comes down First Street, Eastern Street, and actually goes right there where that crossing needs to be, where the sidewalk is. I had another video that actually started over on Pecan Street, came all the way down, but it was just too long to upload from my phone and do all that. So this is just a picture of the side of the bridge where the sidewalk needs to go. And, whoops, wrong button. That is the back side of it. You can see it's 4 inches of concrete, and it's pretty washed out underneath there. This is the other side looking back to the south. So there's telephone pole, a lot of trees, things of that nature are going to have to be moved as well. And then this would be from the north, or from the south looking back to the north. Now you can see all the brush. And actually the power company was out there today and removed a lot of the trees that were hanging over the top of it. So the email I just handed you was from our engineer this morning. So he said he looked it over, and as he mentioned, some of these small projects are difficult to estimate, but he's compared some other comparable projects that in the past. He would suggest reworking the concrete overflow area below the road. As you can see in the picture, that it's even with the road. So in order to put a sidewalk over the top of that, when you got 2 feet of water skimming across it, then you get into ADA ramps and all that other stuff. So basically, we would lower that and then continue across with a small bridge, is what we came up with today when we looked at it. And so there's some costs there. That's why nothing has really been done yet, because council needs to approve to spend this money on the engineers and/or the total project. So he's talking about just the engineering would be approximately $7,500 and then $1,500 for surveying the total, so a total of $9,000 just to engineer it. And then you're probably looking at $60,000 to build the bridge. So you're looking at about $75,000 to do a 35-foot span of sidewalk. So that's what I have.
And we only have about how much in the budget left?
We have zero.
We have
We
zero.
used the last of it
We used
going
all
up
of it,
4th
so
Street.
it's all gone, okay.
So the sidewalk fund is depleted.
All right, council, now we know what the next phase will be and what we need to come up with, maybe from some savings during the year of our budget year. Any other questions, Mr. Martin? All right, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Martin. Okay, agenda item number 5, public hearing. We do not have any public hearing items scheduled for tonight. Moving on to agenda item number 6, consent agenda. Council, do you have any of these items that you would like to remove from consent for further discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to remove item C.
Item C? All right, council, do you have anything else you want to remove from consent for discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve items 6A, B, and D.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve consent agenda items 6A, B, and D by Foster and a second by Easley. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. All right, the item that's been removed for discussion, consider approval of the minutes for the regular city council meeting held on August 15, 2024. Mr. Foster, did you want to lead
Yes.
that?
On the report, the 4A, where we're talking about the fiscal year audit, I think we should, it talks about the single audit that we did, which was related to the COVID funds, but then we also need to include the annual comprehensive financial report that was also discussed at that time. So just with the addition of that item, everything else in there was fine.
Okay. I'm still confused. Can you say that one more time? What is you're removing now? I just finally got to the report.
Okay, sure. So on section 4, letter A,
Okay.
it talked about the audit that was done, and it talks about the single audit that was done due to the COVID funds that we had dispensed. But it doesn't mention in the minutes where we talked about the annual comprehensive financial report that was also discussed at that time. So if we include those two audits in there, then I'm fine with
Okay.
everything else.
Council, are you okay with that change? Did you understand that, Ms. Russell? Okay. All right, if we want to go ahead and make a motion to approve that item then?
So move.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes for the regular city council meeting held on August 15, 2024, with the corrections cited by Councilmember Foster, and a second by Beeson. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. All right, agenda item number 7A, review, discuss, and consider a resolution stating the city's vote of no confidence in the Johnson County Appraisal District's chief appraiser. All right, council, we tabled this at the last meeting because we were going to ask for Mr. Hespeth to be available to come here so that he could present to us and we could ask him questions. And I just want to thank him for being here tonight. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you being here. I want to briefly just explain why this item is on our agenda. I was originally asked to place this item on the agenda by several citizens that came forward to me, and also some mayors in our county. And I just want you, Mr. Husband, to know that this agenda is not to be taken personally. I heard you speak at the Keene Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and you said that you were not opposed to change. That's what this agenda item is about. It's about enacting change. From speaking to those citizens and those mayors, I realized that that's what they want. They want the CAD system to change. They're not happy. When property owners see their CAD envelope, they're afraid to open it. They cringe. It brings anxiety to many of them. They are afraid that this will be the year that they open their bill and find they can no longer afford their home. They are afraid that they can no longer stay in the home that they bought, the home they bought with their hard-earned money, the home they wanted to die in. You've been doing this job, Mr. Hudspeth, a long time. I think you said since 2000, something like that at the meeting. In order for the system to change, the citizens needed to make a statement. So by discussing tonight this resolution of no confidence in the chief appraiser, they're making the statement to the people in the Austin that you cited that this whole CAD system, it's not working. Some serious questions need to be answered about how taxable value is appraised. A hard look needs to be done into the tax codes and how they're applied, identify the weaknesses of this system, and figure out what needs to be done to make it better. People should be able to afford their homes. This country was founded on property ownership and economic opportunity. And right now, property ownership is being taken away from many people. And we need to figure out a way to get it back for them. And so that's why we're here tonight. That's why I asked for this item to be on the agenda. And again, I thank you, sir, for coming. If you would like to step forward, if council has some questions for you, since they tabled this specifically to hear you talk, I would like to give you the first opportunity before I call any citizens that would like to also address the council on this issue.
Jim Hudspeth, I'm the chief appraiser of Johnson County. I've been there since February of '81. Started in the tax business when I was 16 years old at Burleson School District. This tax system that you're talking about has basically been the same since the 1970s when I was in it. The assessor collectors back then is what they were called, appraised, and then they collected. The entities like the city council, the county, and the school districts would set their tax rate. And that's what people get their tax bill. A lot of times they talk about come in our office, they're talking about taxes. Well, we do the value, how it's going to be distributed. There used to be a board of equalization, now there's an ARB, that's Appraisal Review Board, sorry for the acronym, Appraisal Review Board. There's a system of what we do. We are working on the board of directors, and us have been working on the reappraisal plan that's coming out. They'll be talking about that Monday night to change some of this system that we can do as much as we can do locally. I'm not going to sit here and say there's no errors on the appraisal road, because there could be. We could have missed something. We could have overlooked something. They could look at a property and find out that there's not enough evidence to raise the values. But we're looking at that. We're re-looking at all our procedures and all, but the reappraisal plan, I won't get into it because the committee that the board of directors did set up to look at that reappraisal plan, we're still working on it. That plan will be sent out to the entities as soon as we look at it tomorrow and make sure that the committee's good with it. It'll be sent to the city manager, stuff like that, so y'all can look at it. It's gonna be different than it has in the past. I can tell you that right now. It does give us an option to fix problems that we have, but we're looking at all our procedures and stuff, but we've gotta have time. The state does require certain things, for school districts especially. I heard the lady that came up and said if we cut the values in half, which we used to do in the old days, you would set a value at 100,000, the city was at 50%, you tax it at $50,000. The problem was the city council would have to raise the tax rate to meet their budget. So you got us, you got the budget process that y'all go through. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. This is a deal that needs to be in Austin. I've heard all the people. The board of directors has heard all the people. I know that y'all have the power for no confidence vote. Everyone does. But I'm telling you, we're trying. We want to make this system work. I don't know what the new system will be if they change it. Every time the legislature meets, we kind of cringe because we don't know what they're going to do to us. Sometimes they send unfunded mandates to cities and schools and county. I'm a human being that can make mistakes. Our staff could make mistakes because we're human. We were short-staffed for a long time. COVID came in. I'm not giving you any excuses at all. But I'm standing here saying that we are making changes. The board that has been, some of them have been elected, some of them are put on by the entities. Y'all will be receiving a letter Friday. We're sending them out to put 5 new members on that y'all nominate, and then the entities will vote on those 5. So that will be coming out. So there could be a change in the board again. We got to hold an election this year. We got to hold an election December of '26. And then the 3 new elected board members that were elected by the people will be voted on. I know everyone's upset with taxes. I know everyone's upset with the appraisal districts. Not just Johnson County, 253 of us. Of course, there's a comptroller's office. This is a system we work under. If I could change some of it, I would, because some of it is different. I mean, you look at the tax code, running people out of their home. I'm not the individual that will run you out of your home. I'll put the value on there. And a lot of times, if we're wrong, that's why you get to go to the ARB. If you don't like that, you can arbitrate. You can file a lawsuit. There's things that we need to look at and change in the system from the state coming this way. It's not on the city council, because if you have a budget and I was to put the values on for 10%, all the things y'all have talked about tonight, you still got to get the money. They've got to change the way we either get the money, or you can change the appraisal system on it, which I'm going to tell you up front, the reappraisal plan looks different from what we've had in the past for several. It's happening all over the state. We'll see how it works out. Everybody asked the question, what happens at the school district? You know, because that's what you're hearing. How are they going to be funded? Is the state going to do this? So there's this big process that we do. And is some of it unfair? Probably ask the school district if it's unfair. Is it unfair that entities get a unfunded mandate? Because the money has to come locally. You know, they put things in last year, the circuit breaker, right at the end of the year. Every time they meet every 2 years for 140 days. There's been talk around it should be meet every 140 years for 2 days. You know, you get that joke. I understand that everyone is upset with the appraisal district. I get it. I hear it. When they come to our meetings, we have a lot of people there. Some of these people have been there. I know what they've said. I've heard it over and over. We're trying to fix it. There's one of my board members right there. He's trying to fix it. All of them are trying to do something to make it better. And I want to make it better. If we can fix something that's a problem, we need to fix it. And people ask me questions all the time, how's school funding done? Well, it's complicated. It is real complicated. Call the comptroller's office, call TEA, it's confusing. So I understand it all. There are certain questions I can ask. I would ask that y'all contact me at the office so none of us get in trouble if we're talking about individual values and stuff. I've heard all of the stuff that's been said, I promise you, every bit of it. And where we make mistakes, we'll fix them. They're not done on purpose. Nothing is done on purpose. There's nobody in my office is looking to make deals and stuff like that, because I've heard that too. But I'm standing here before you to say there's change coming. I think after you get the reappraisal plan and it gets voted on, you're gonna see a reappraisal plan that's been a lot different from the past. And we'll have to study more and more because we do need to be careful if the state doesn't change something at this legislative session for the way they fund schools. Cities and counties and special districts are not affected as much as what they call the school district property value study. We call it the property value study, but it's actually a school district property value study that's done so the state and the TEA can say how the funding is going to be for a school district. Do they look at our values? Yes, they do. They do a study. We see it. You can go online and see it on the comptroller's office. In reappraisal, it doesn't mean your value will change. It means that we're looking at it. And if we got evidence that we can change something or lower something or raise something, we have to have the evidence for it. And I know people come into the appraisal district, I heard every word you said. They're scared to death. They're scared to death. I'm not so sure they're scared to walk into our side of the office. I think when they walk into the ARB, they get real scared. But that is not part of any part of what I do. For that part, that's something separate. This year, the board members on our board will put the new board members on the ARB that are coming out of term. So they will be taking care of that with the TLO, which is the taxpayer liaison officer. If anybody has a problem, they can always talk to the taxpayer liaison officer about, I didn't get a hearing, I didn't get this. She'll look at it. Sometimes she calls us and says, hey, we need to have a meeting and talk. So there's very, very much communication that we used to not have on some things. We've tried to change our website to make it more friendly. We're going to put some more stuff on there next year to show people how to protest. Do this, bring this evidence, bring this, because we can send all the paperwork out with the stuff. You got lines after lines. I know y'all have got notices. When you get all that, there's a lot to read, and if you miss something in there, it's hard to find it. So we're going to try to do something to make it work. You do this, bring this evidence. Do you have damage in your home? Do you have this? So I'm just giving you a view of what we do. But I'm telling you, since 1973, when I started at 16, to 2024, this system has not changed. It's been tweaked. It's the same system we've had for hundreds of years that they started. The only good thing is we don't tax chickens, cows, personal property in your house like they used to. Like I said at the Keene Chamber, there used to be things that they taxed that they quit taxing. Ag property, for example, used to be you had to make 51% of your income off of your land, but if you had an oil well in West Texas, you didn't get ag. And we probably, in Burleson, we had one account that had ag back then. So I would like to say to the community here, and some of them know me, We want to make a change. We're going to make a change. We can only do so much here, and I know that they all go down to Austin, some of them, and to other appraisal districts, and they're trying to get a change. So I'm in it with you on that part. I can't change everything. There's only certain things I can do because of my position. But I hear what everybody's saying. I hear what everybody's saying. And if I could change it all and make it better, I'd put all the values on 0, and then there wouldn't be a problem. There would be no property tax. Or if an entity put a tax rate at 0, there would be no tax. It could go on either, we could argue all night on either side. Who makes the 0? Who makes the mistakes? You're gonna see our mistakes. I've got human beings that work in my office. And we're trying to make subjective appraisals on what information we have. I don't get to see the inside. Our office does not see the inside of the house. So I'm wanting to, I guess I want to relate to you that we're doing the best we can. We've heard the issues, and I think that as the future goes forward with the new board we have and all, that brought up some new ideas. We want to do things better. Some of them, before they ever brought them up, we were already planning on changing some things. Give us a chance. Give my staff a chance. You know, they hear all these meetings and all that. I'm saying just give us a chance. And my office is open. Call the office. Email jcad@johnsoncad.net, and my administrative assistant will get it to me. But I've heard, you know, I've talked to several of you when I was at the Keene Chamber of Commerce. We're going to do something different. Am I going to get all property taxes taken away? No. That's not my job. I can't do that. But can I look at everything and fix the things that we can fix? Yes, we'll do it. So I'm just telling everybody, we're going to do the very best we can. We got a new year coming up. I think you'll like the reappraisal plan, I believe. But the committee that has it and the board will vote on that on Monday night because we have to have it done by the 15th of September. That's on a Friday. On a Saturday, we've got to get it done. And that's all I've got. But if you have a question, if you would, for time's sake and everything, call me at the office, write an email, and then I will answer you back. I promise. Because tonight, I don't have my stuff, and I couldn't answer all the questions. But we will, starting after Monday, we're going to have to reset everything with this. If the reappraisal plan passes, and I believe it will, and I believe everybody should be happy with it.
So you mentioned that meeting on Monday. Could you tell us when the time is and the location so that everybody will know?
Yeah, it's at 6 o'clock
Okay.
at the convention center there in Cleveland, where
Okay.
it's been the last, 4 or 5 months.
Okay. Cleveland
Okay.
Conference Center,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
6 o'clock this Monday, which is September 9.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And could you tell us a little bit more about your staff? You've been referencing your staff. I don't actually know very much about your office and the staff that you manage. I don't know how many staff we
Okay.
have. I don't know what their titles are, what they do.
We have around 44,
Okay.
okay? We have our director of appraisal,
Okay.
manager. We have an administrative manager that's over administration. We have a bookkeeper that works in that department. We have 9 appraisers. We have ARB, people that work with them. They're in our office, but we have 5 in there to try to run 2 panels. We have our customer service people. We have people on the phone. And then we have our mapping department that changes all the deeds, draws all the maps, gets all the plats in that they send us. Then we have a data entry department
Okay.
that does the data entry and making sure everything's running right.
So is your office just like us? It's subject to open records request? And
Yes.
if we send in information and we wanted to ask you for like a list of the titles or number
Yeah.
of how many staff you have, you
Yes.
will provide that to the public?
Yes.
Is there a cost attributed to that? Is that
Oh,
free?
If you do it.
If I just sent you an email and said, okay, and asked questions, you'll answer them like an open records request?
Like an open records request. We're under the same rules.
Okay, that's what I was
Yes,
wondering. If
ma'am.
you're under the same rules as all other entities subject to open records request, everything you do, it's transparent, it's open,
And it's going to be more transparent.
yeah. Well, the one thing that was provided to me when I asked for this to be on the agenda is I was given a list of some properties that have been questioned for being frozen, and they've not had any changed value in maybe a decade or more and stuff. And
We're
so
looking into those.
if
to
I
see what it
provided
was.
you with a list of these property addresses, could you provide like the field cards for each of them if I asked for that?
Yes.
And that way they can be compared to the neighboring properties and decide if the neighboring properties have also been frozen and if there's
Yes,
any
ma'am.
kind of difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what about the change log history? If we ask for a change log history, do you provide that through an open records request? So that we could go back to when the properties were purchased by the original owner?
Most of it,
And look
yes,
at it.
we could.
We could do that?
Like who bought it and who.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then all the changes that have taken place over the history of that, it should tell us pretty much everything, right? That we want to know about a piece of
Yeah, if
property
you-
if we ask for that?
Yeah,
Okay, and you could do that, okay.
we'll try.
Well, because some of the questions that have been asked of me is people don't understand how these appraisals are done. They don't understand why some properties seem unchanged for years and their property values don't change, but others change on an annual basis, astronomically. So they don't understand why some get frozen and why some don't. And you
It's not
talked about
frozen.
how.
It didn't get changed, but yes.
Didn't get
we'll
changed, we
answer.
call it frozen, yeah.
Yeah.
And you talked about how the controller sends you requirements and tells you that you have to meet like a certain quota, like 95 to 105%? Is that
Yes.
what you said of the appraised values?
Yes.
So when you're doing your appraisals, you're trying to meet that standard every year.
Yes, ma'am.
And so my other question would be, how do you meet that standard? How do you meet a standard like that? Do you appraise everybody? Is everybody every year getting appraised
We
100%?
try to look at every property that we
Okay.
can, do ratio studies and all. Try
Okay.
to figure out what areas are moving.
Okay,
If you don't get any sales in a place, something like that, then it's hard to, I have to justify it.
okay.
If somebody comes in and asks. That's where I'm saying we're checking now. We've already got the list that you're talking about because
Yeah.
I've had somebody else ask me.
That's what we're trying to understand, is
So-
how this selection process takes place,
Yes.
where some areas get chosen and some areas don't get chosen every year, and somehow you rotate it to where maybe some get chosen every other year, I don't know.
Yeah, but come by and we'll sit down and we'll talk about it.
Okay, so you look at like sales or property and
sales,
what's growing?
properties.
Those are
Yes,
things that are considerations
Yes,
as to
ma'am.
whether you air that. Okay,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was one of my
But
questions.
if y'all come by, let's sit
Okay.
down and talk about it. Show me the list and we'll
Okay,
go.
sure, I would love
Right.
to, I would love to. Counsel, do you have any questions for Mr. Hudspeth?
When you evaluate property, say a house, do you do it by the square footage? Explain that process, if you don't mind.
We have tables and stuff that we use, square footage, houses, we can make mistakes. You take the square footage, a percentage of the garage, a percentage of the porches, apply a price per square foot, take depreciation. If it's got amenities that other places don't have, we can add that. It's a complicated system sometimes to explain, but like I say, if you'll come by, it's easier to sit down and go, okay, this is what this is. But that's basically, you're taking this times this equals this, minus depreciation, minus maybe some damage to the house inside. And that's where people, when they come to the ARB, or even come in to talk to the appraiser, they need to bring in pictures. I've got a crack right down in the middle of my house. Now, Texas, little small cracks and stuff, every house in Texas will have something going on because the earth is moving. Like we just got this rainstorm. Well, in some people's yards, their cracks were this big. That house is moving. But if it's damaging it where it's just all over the place, we need to know that. But from the outside, a house can look the same as one that's got gold fixtures in it and things. We don't know that. So each house is mass appraised. You try to mass appraise. but then you have to look at individual characteristics of damage, what's going on with it, and everybody's gonna have a different opinion, what is in it and what's not, and I get it. But I would just suggest, come by our office and talk. If you're not talking to me, I'll gift you to the right people to talk to. I don't appraise all the properties in Johnson County myself. That's not, I don't do it. A lot of people think I do, but I don't. But we know we need to fix some things, explain it better so people know, and that's what our project going forward is. But please come by.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, council, that you have for him?
I have a question.
Yes?
You covered it a little bit, but I'd like you to go just a little bit more in detail. Excuse me, I've talked to a number of people today.
Yes.
I'm not getting these drastic responses that a lot of these people are talking about. I'm getting about 50% of the people that don't even know this is happening. And the other 50%, but what I did hear several times was not being allowed to come to the ARB. You indicated that you're not in charge of that. Describe how that goes once more, please.
Now, when they say they can't go to the ARB?
Well, they said they've talked to people down there,
Uh-huh.
and they said, no, you don't have a case. Is this good information or bad information?
I would like to check that out because I don't believe we're telling people you don't have a good case.
Okay,
Please, if you know somebody that said that, I'll check them out.
I do. I'm not going to disclose
Not
that here,
tonight,
but
not
yes.
tonight, but if one of our people told them they didn't have a case, I would like to know who that is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well,
Okay.
I have some public comments. Oh, did you want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is just a general kind of information and also some questions. So one is going to be regarding the contract. I've received some kind of questions regarding the contract, and I know your contract.
Oh,
So
my contract?
yes, I'm not talking about the details, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
got it.
saying in terms of how it was kind of renewed in terms of the time frame. As you have been working and for all these years, do you normally do a yearly contract, 1 year contract, or 3 years, or 2 years, or how has it been?
Okay. All the years that I've been there, and even the chief appraiser before me, it's always been a 3-year contract. Our reviews have always been in December. Like this year, it'll come up in December, and the board members will bring or look at everything. They'll give me some goals. They have the power, most of the time in the past, it's always been to renew it to make sure I had a 3-year contract. Okay? If this year the board goes in there and goes, we're just gonna give you a 2-year contract, they can do that. But it's been that way for 43 years that I've been there. And I've been chief appraiser it'll be 23 in December. If the board wishes, I'm assuming I'll get a review in December
So-
of this year.
So with the current terms that you have under the contract, I haven't looked at the contract.
Uh-huh.
So do they have that power to be able to adjust the terms? You said 3
They
years.
can do, there's parts of it that are in there for that 2 years. They can do what they want come December.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
So for the last 8 years, I've spent a lot of time with the homeowners, taxpayers in Keene. I don't know about other cities. And every year, I can tell you, when I'm talking to them, you can see some, as the mayor said, fear. The homeowners, they'll come with a tax kind of document and say, you know, who does this? Because they know the city council does normally, vote on tax rate. And it seems that some of the taxpayers, when they are talking about this, the problem is some evaluation doesn't make sense because you find like a 70,000, 20,000, 30,000 jump. And I'll tell them, just go down there and protest or ask, get a question answered, and then you can see where the problem is. But as time is going, it seems like the homeowners are in a situation whereby they don't trust that they can get a fair kind of
Hearing?
evaluation. Like they have to come and try to beg, can you please look at this? They are in that state where nobody trusts what they have, because every year everybody has things all over the place. So because of that, I think, and I've heard some of us say that it seems that people are saying they are voting, like you are not doing your job, and that's not what this is all about. What people are frustrated about is about the leadership and the way the process has been going. It has nothing to do with you, like you are not a good person. And that's what maybe we might want to get clear. So this item has nothing to do with saying you are not a good person or maybe something is going on that is not right.
No.
But it's about the whole system and the process. It has been very frustrating in the past. So if we can look at that, then it might make easier for us to make a decision and not take it personal, based on your...
I'm not taking it personal.
Right. Thank you.
If I took it personal, I would just walk out the door and say, I'm listening. There's always things that can be changed in a system. If I took it personal after 50 years, I would probably be totally bald. Between grandkids and I've dealt with taxpayers all my life. It seems like more than over half my life. I'm 67. I mean, 50 years of my life I've dedicated to the system of, and most of it in Johnson County. I worked 2 years in Arlington, but most of it's been right here. And I care about the people of Johnson County. I've heard people say that I don't. The management style and all, we can fix anything. I'm hearing all of it. If we need to fix something, we fix it. You get another person, another chief appraiser, just put it out there, you're gonna come in and do the same thing as I'm doing. He's got to follow certain laws. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look at all the issues and all the stuff that we've heard. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna try our best to get it fixed. And that's what I'm saying. We heard it. It's got nothing to do with me personally. I'm a chief appraiser. I said it at the Keene Chamber. I'm a chief appraiser, but that's not who Jim Hudspeth is. Jim Hudspeth is totally, I'm not ashamed of my Lord, okay? I'm not gonna get personal in it. Chief appraiser, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. This is a job, and I wanna do it the best that I can. And I think we've always got the appraisal row certified and to everybody on the 25th when they need it. Because let me tell you, the city manager, if I don't give him an appraisal row on the 25th, he will be calling me. I promise you. The council will call me, the school will call me, because they want that appraisal row because they have a certain amount of days to get it done. We've passed all our MAPS reviews from the state, and we've passed all our property value studies. We've had a couple of times when the King School fell out a couple of years. We got them out, they fell out, they got in, they fell out the next year in 30-something years. So we're doing a good job. We need to do it better. The questions that you've asked and you brought up, we need to look into that and make sure that we're doing. I do not like to hear that people feel fearful to walk into office. I don't have anything to do with the ARB per se, besides handing the records over to them. They approve them. July 20th, I get it certified. But if they're scared to go in there, we need to change our perception. People need to not be scared to come into the appraisal district. But if you listen to most people, we get a lot of comments that we're friendly. When you call, when you send an email, we try to get back to you real quick. But if we got issues, if you let us know, the board or me, they're gonna let me know. We'll talk to those people and find out what's going on. Was there a misunderstanding? Because I heard what you said. I'll get that person and did you say something that maybe was misconstrued? But personal, taking this personal, no, sir. No, sir. I will not take it personal. Whatever you do, it will not be personal to me. But I do know this. We're trying to do the best we can. You can always look at yourself and make things better. I think a person has to look at themselves and reevaluate themselves. When you look in the mirror, most people that look in a mirror will never look in their eyes. They won't judge themselves. We'll judge other people, but we won't look at ourselves. I look in the mirror and I know who I am. And I know that I'm always gonna work hard. I'm always gonna do the very best I can. I'd rather be in the gray area in the tax code, because I will promise you, the tax code, it can be, if you mess up on the tax code, you mess up. People don't know this. If your land comes out of ag, I'm just saying, comes out of ag, you're supposed to contact me and tell me that you took all your cattle off, all your stuff off of it. You're supposed to tell me. But our job is to go out there and see if it's off. But the tax code would get you if you left off a pool in the back and we missed it, and we seen it after 5 years. The tax code would get you. But if I missed the pool, I can still get you by the tax code. Well, that's not right. That's why some of the laws that the state sets up is a gotcha. And I don't like that. I like to call my attorney and go, if I can do this, can I do this? Oh, nope, you can't do that. What if I did this? Because there's a lot of must and shall in your city attorney will tell you, the law is black and white sometimes. That's cruel. But if there's an area, I want to find an area to help the taxpayer. I'm not against the taxpayer. I'm not. Our job is not to be for the entity to give y'all the most value. My job is not to give the taxpayer because they're going through a hard time, because there's nothing in the code that says on property tax that if you're going through cancer and you're going through heart attacks, you've lost there's nothing in the code that does it based on income and all that for the individual. So I can't be for either. I'm just trying to get the right value, and if I mess up there, then we need to correct that. And that's what I'm promising that we will do. We're gonna look at our system, we're reevaluating what we're doing. The board has directed that, and I've heard every individual that's talked. I promise you, when they're talking, even if it's the same thing each month, I've heard it. And it's looking, and like I said, I've heard some things tonight. If that is been said, I would like the opportunity to find out, because some people will call over the years and say, they said this, or they'll say, I went to the tax office and they told me it was you. I'll call the tax office and talk to them, and they go, we never seen that person. So sometimes they use me, our office, against the tax office, or they'll say an individual said this when you talk to the individual, but they didn't say that. So I'd like to check it out, because I don't want any of my employees making anybody feel like they're not welcomed in our office, because the only thing we have to offer is customer service. Now, are you always going to leave happy? No. But can you leave with people respecting you? Yes. I've never disrespected anyone in all my years. Now, I have been disrespected. I have been called every name in the book from the time I was 16 to now. I have never looked at them and called them the same thing. Because a boss of mine told me when I was young that now I won't take a cussing. I'll tell you right now, if you're cussing on the phone at our employees, we've told them, tell them not to do that. If they don't stop, we'll hang up the phone and then call us back. My boss told me way back there when I was in my 20s, he says they can gripe at you, they can yell at you, they can cuss at you, and you're going to get paid Friday. But the first time I hear you cuss at them, you will not work here. So that's been my motto. Be respectful. Just don't call my mom by name. There is a line of everything. I'm just being real.
All right.
What you're seeing is the real Jim.
All right. Thank you,
But
Mr. Husband.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'll let you have a seat, and let me go ahead and call some individuals that I have some cards here for.
Mayor, could I ask him a
Oh,
question?
go ahead.
I could ask him
Did you want
a
to,
question?
I'm sorry?
I had a question for Mr. Hudspeth.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch you.
Yeah, I'm just curious, how many board members are there on your board?
Board of Directors,
Yes,
when it's fully loaded, it'll be 9.
okay.
There's 5 that the entities put on, 3 elected, and Scott Porter, the county assessor.
So 5 from the entities, the 3 from where?
Elected by the people. Under the new tax bill, yes.
Okay.
And then
and-
the county
Porter.
assessor collector.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got one more question.
Yes.
Have you had a chance to read the resolution number from Keene 2024-453?
No, sir.
Okay, that's the resolution in regards to why we're here tonight.
Yes.
So I'm the guy that always addresses the elephant in the room, and I'm going to address that right now.
Yes, sir.
What would this resolution do if it was passed tonight?
If you passed it, it would go, you'd have to get with the Board of Directors.
And what would it do at the board? And I'm not asking what the board of directors would do. I'm asking, in your opinion, how much good is it going to do?
You would have to ask the Board of Directors,
Okay,
because that's up to them to, you could pass it. If they take it and they want to go, we no longer need you here because this city didn't like you. Or they didn't, not me personally, the job I'm doing. That's up to the Board of Directors, those 9 board members.
thank you.
Thank y'all.
Go ahead, Ms. Foster.
Just as, I don't know who to address this question to, but just as a follow-up to that, then in the resolution, it says, the city council hereby expresses its lack of confidence in Toby Ford, a member of the board of directors, but doesn't name anyone else. We have confidence in the other 8?
Toby Ford resigned as of September 1st, off the board. So right now, we have the 3 elected board members and Mr. Dwayne Gouling and Amy Lingo, Larry Tremble, Pastor Mazel, and Tina White, and our county assessor. So 2 of the board members. And John Wood, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember all the members, but yes. So the other 2 have resigned
Okay. And then,
from the original board.
okay, and then you also mentioned that you're working on a revision of
The
something?
reappraisal plan.
Yes. And that'll be ready when?
Monday? Yeah, we'll be ready for that to send it out to you tomorrow, to the entities.
So we'll get a copy of that
Yes.
tomorrow? Okay, thank you.
That's the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You gonna let him sit down now? Okay, I'm gonna call Craig Hunley.
Mayor and council, thanks for letting me speak tonight. I want to read something from the State Comptroller's Office first to answer a question that I heard tonight.
Okay.
Our office received your complaint letter about the properties located in Johnson County. The Comptroller's Office does not have authority over valuing the property within the local county appraisal district. Property tax is not a sales tax, but a local government tax. It's up to the local government to interpret the codes that affect property tax values. We have logged your complaint. However, it sounds like you are filing a protest on this property. Our office is prohibited by law commenting on a matter that is subject to a protest. Please consult your local county appraisal district. So that's the state comptroller's involvement. Just wanted to get that out. My name's Craig Hundley. I've spoke to y'all before. I'm the head of a grassroots movement. I started 5 years ago, and our goal is to rid ourselves of this evil ad valorem property tax system. Our membership is now at 10,300 members and gaining. Our first goal was to take over the CAD board, and we did 100%. We are the only county in the state of Texas to achieve this goal. Our main goals are transparency, which we are getting now, property owners, small business, the elderly, and young families. We want to keep a roof over our citizens' heads. Before Mr. Hudspeth, with what he's doing, I'm watching small business downtown Cleveland. It's going to turn into a ghost town again with what has happened lately. Mr. Rodriguez, they have really hurt him. You can help your citizens who put you in office. Now, we've got a lot of entities doing no new revenues, and I don't expect everybody to do it. County Commissioner's Court has done it. City of Grandview ISD went below no new revenue. But if you've got a way to go to no new revenue to help your citizens, I recommend you to do it. But if you can't, everybody understands it. I personally want to vote a no confidence on Mr. Hudspeth. It does not terminate him or nothing, but it lets, the public know that, we're tired. Lets him know that we're fed up. We've made a lot of great change. Change is happening, and it's up to you. And I appreciate you letting me talk again. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Henley.
James was first.
Do you think he doesn't know
Know what?
what you just
Oh,
said? You want him to know?
Oh, what, a vote of no confidence?
Do you think he doesn't know?
Oh, he knows it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we've let him know for 5 years now. Yes,
Mr. Hunley,
yes.
why name Mr. Husbeth and not the system itself?
I have named the system. We have a bill in Texas Ledge right now in Austin.
So why not? Why doesn't
We
this
start-
why doesn't this resolution name the system? Why does it call out people's names?
They are the system,
No, they're not. They're representatives of the system.
okay?
Okay? If you want to eliminate property taxes, what are you going to replace it with? How does a city support itself and give its services?
We've got a bill, and I'll be glad to give you a copy of the bill.
You tell me to go look it up, ma'am. I've been blocked from this horse barn site
I will let.
by the mayor.
Mayor, may I let him back in the group?
You can do whatever you want.
I can't
Okay.
find the information.
I will personally send you a copy.
Go to the internet site, there's an internet site that has the whole plan.
We have the
This is the first I've heard of a website.
Go to eliminatepropertytax.com. You can see all the facts. Cody Vasut, Representative Terry Leo Wilson, and 20 other state reps will be co-signing our bill next session.
Because I was told the same similar stuff that a gentleman told Mr. Bells when I called a number of years ago. You know what the tax company told me? Good
What?
time to sell your house, Mr. Easley. I said, I don't want to sell my house, I want to live here,
You want to live here? Yes, sir.
okay? But I also want services from the city.
Yes, I want
So
services from
we
the
have
city.
to balance that
We are
somewhere.
we are not anti-tax, never
Well,
have been.
but it says eliminate property tax.
Well, you don't read it very well. Eliminate property tax. It should be a God-given right to own your lands in the state of Texas. There's other
So how do
ways
we
to
raise
collect
the taxes? How do we raise the taxes? Can you give me a
Ad
5-minute?
valorem. 7% ad valorem straight
So,
across town.
but Keene has no doesn't have an ad valorem, excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry. Keene doesn't have a large enough sales tax base to support
No.
itself.
No. Most school districts don't have enough money, but it is shifting around. There's a way to take care of all this.
So it would shift more to our state level, and there'd be redistribution of
Yeah,
wealth.
yeah, here we get back. I like local control too, but the state's gonna be involved, as they
Okay.
already are.
So we change one monster for another.
That's all we got is a monster.
I know.
But wouldn't you like to stay in your home?
I would. I'd like my mother to stay in her home too.
Yes. Would you like your mother and elderly people to have to, decide between food and medicine?
I'd
and
also
property
like
tax?
citizens of Keene to pay their taxes and not be able to defer them until they die.
Yeah, but some of them can't help that.
Well, but it's a legal loophole that needs to be closed.
Yes, it is a legal loophole.
Because that cheats the citizens every year.
I'm sure it does, but hey. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
We got a 100% disabled vet right here. He pays no property tax. I
Yeah.
owe him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know of somebody who's in my family
Yeah.
who's a veteran that doesn't pay property tax.
Yeah,
He served his country.
yes.
So there's good loopholes and there's bad loopholes.
But what our bill, there is nothing bad about it. We don't believe in all taxes being eliminated. We just believe in another form of collection. And if you can't believe there is a way to do it. But if you like the current system, fight for it. I'm not,
Oh, I don't like it,
okay?
but I have a problem with poking out people's names when it's a system.
Well, chief, yeah,
Well,
we'll just say chief appraiser from
that, well,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Hunley. Did you want to step up? If you'll state your name and address.
Ms. Mayor, City Council, Peter Svensson from Cleburne, Texas. Sorry I was late tonight, but we were coming back from Dallas, and let me just give you a fact. You represent the people of Keene. Let me give you a sad story. You've got a retired policeman here named David Sinclair. I did a P&L on him today and what's called a cap rate as in capitalization. I'm currently taxed, pardon? He lives in Keene. Yes. I want to talk to you about somebody that lives in your area that should mean something to you.
Hey,
He's a
sir,
wonderful, yes.
just for clarification, would you mind telling me what a cap rate is? You said
Yes, I'll
capitalization.
explain it.
Explain.
Capitalization is like a profit and loss statement. If you go to the bank, right? They're going to look and make sure that you have the means to pay the loan back. Well, capitalization is the same thing. A cap rate is you say your monthly rent, what it is per year, what do you have on vacancies, what do you pay on insurance, what does it cost you to maintain that property, and it's all legal, okay? It's part of the three things. You can go by value, you can go by what it costs you to build it, you can go by a cap rate, or you can go by clear and information that shows what's going on to offset it.
Well, David wouldn't have a cap rate because he owns his home, right?
No, we're not talking about his home. He has 7 duplexes here in Keene and rents them for $1.10 a square foot. They're 660 square foot, 1 bedrooms. He rents them for $750, which is $110 a square foot. I rent mine for around $111, $112, okay? I've studied this whole area of what is fair rents, okay? And he is a fair renter. But we did a cap rate on him, and he was $2,000 in the hole on one and $4,000 in the red on another, which means by the time he pays his taxes and everything, he doesn't have any money to pay his taxes. He and his wife had to borrow money last year to pay Mr. Hespeth. Now let me tell you how upside down this is, ladies and gentlemen. I have rental property. I've worked my whole life. I came to Cleburne with nothing. I lived with my mother and father-in-law for 4 months, working 2 jobs just to find a little house for my family. I know what it's like, okay? But David Sinclair, I'm being taxed right now at $80 a square foot. Hold on to your seatbelts. Mr. Sinclair is at $250 a square foot. That's what Mr. Hespeth has him at. He can't afford to pay it. And his properties are older than my property. I don't come here ignorantly or to talk bad about it. It has nothing to do with Mr. Hespeth. It has to do with this system that is broken. Now, when a David Sinclair has to borrow money, and, okay, if you have a profit and loss and you're minus 2,000, is the bank gonna give you money? No. Well, that's how upside down he is. He can't even sell his properties because if any of you were looking at his property, you wouldn't buy it because you couldn't make any money. Now, at the last meeting I spoke at, they had, Mr. Hespeth brought in a special man that's been doing for 30-year cap rates, okay? And he agreed with me. I went out in the hall and showed him my cap rates. I said, tell me where I'm wrong. He says, well, don't do 11% or 13. You got to do it at 15% now because of the economy, because of inflation. You do 15%. Well, now let me give you an example. On my property, when I did an honest cap rate, correct? I turned it in. It was $495,000. He had me taxed at $1.9 million. Okay? I put in the cap rate just like it should. And guess what? They did a little voodoo magic at the Central Appraisal Office. And when I got it back, now when you submit your taxes, Mr. Foster, do you take every deduction you can? Yeah, I do too. Now my deductions are air conditioners, water heaters, repainting when somebody has trashed my unit. That costs money. Well, guess what they did? The voodoo was, all of a sudden, the government only gave you 15% of your deductions because they only gave me 15%. So $495 in actual value went to $1.3 million. And I got the email from the lady showing me what she did. And I took it to that gentleman. And I showed it to him. Am I wrong? And he said, no. In fact, that gentleman is going to be called as one of my witnesses in the lawsuit against Johnson County. And there's a bunch of them coming because we cannot handle the way that they run business. Now, let me give you one more example. And I hope Mr. Hespeth hears this. Remember the name Harold Brown. Harold Brown is the most evil, vulgar person I have ever met in my life. And I can bring 10 witnesses in here to tell you the same thing. In fact, one of the CAD board members sat in on his meeting, and when she came out, she didn't know whether to cry, scream, or yell. He was so rude to people. Now, the same David Sinclair went in there with clear evidence. And they just rubber stamped it and said, let me tell you what you need to do, Harold Brown said to David Sinclair. Listen, he said, raise your rents from $750 to $975. You know what that's called? Antitrust. You know, one of the CAD board members, rents from so high. What if your daughter, or yours? This girl works as a school teacher. Her husband is an electrician. She has 2 jobs. And guess what Harold Brown told her? Get a 3rd job. Wow, isn't this a great tax system we have? No empathy, no caring, no disregard for the economy. I don't care which one of you. We pay more at the pumps, at the grocery store. Inflation, if you don't know it, is 24.31%. It's killing us. And believe me, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits. Why? Because the only way you can get justice in Johnson County Central Appraisal District is to sue them. Isn't that sad? They can't even come up with something that is fair. Now, let me end with this. I hired, he did it for nothing because he saw our plight in Cleveland, a professional forensic accountant. You know the difference between an accountant and a forensic? Yeah. He ran the system on DCAD, which they're suing, and they're losing it. Denton County, he compared it to Cleveland. They're identical. Cleveland shows the value of an average home in Johnson County at $350,000. You know what he came up with? $214,000. Again, this system is broken. And I want to thank the new CAD board because they've uncovered already in his budget $300,000 of wasted money. Now, Mr. Hespeth wants a new building. It ain't going to happen. Mr. Hespeth wants to hire more people. Not going to happen. So if you love your community, see this gentleman sitting right back there? He moved here from Canada. And he bought a house for $125,000, thinking, I want to retire and leave Keene as a Seventh-day Adventist. Well, it's currently, what, $325,000? A little bit, 300, let's say that. His taxes now are so high, at 75, he had to get a second job. And he's in fear of losing his home. I want you to do a lot of soul searching. I'm not Republican here tonight, I'm not Democrat. I'm just a humble citizen that's trying to make it right for the people of Johnson County. Thank you, Ms. Mayor and City Council.
Swinson. All right, Greg Cooper.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. What is a vote of no confidence? Councilmember, you asked that, and what will it accomplish? Well, absolutely nothing, other than it lets every one of your constituents know exactly how you feel and your views exactly on the performance of the Central Appraisal District since the early 70s, according to him, for the chief appraiser. So what did we hear tonight? Heard a lot of emotions, so let's remove emotions out of it. What did we hear from the chief appraiser just tonight? We heard that he has a lot of problems and errors within the Central Appraisal District. We heard that he's trying to fix those problems. We've heard that he's trying to make things better. We've heard that he's in the process of making change. We've heard that he's trying to look at everything. We've heard that he makes mistakes. We've heard that 50 years of his life has been spent doing the same job. We've heard that it's the same and that they try to appraise properties annually. If your city administrator or city manager couldn't tell you and talked about your check registry like with comments like that, who was there for a long time, would you have confidence in them? If your city secretary, if your police chief couldn't give you a report on what he was doing, would you have confidence in them? This is a snapshot in time of how you feel about the performance of the Central Appraisal District office under the chief appraiser's leadership. That's it. And it tells the board that maybe they should look a little bit closer. That's it. Now, what drove all this change that Mr. Hudspeth's talking about? Well, was this little grassroots organization going to taxing entities and demanding that they change? Most taxing entities decided to change and put people in place that would affect change. So what you're seeing now is a result of that change. The four of you that are up for election, you don't think that what you do tonight and how you put your stamp on this very specifically is important? Seriously. Absolutely. This change has been coming for a long, long time. Mr. Hudspeth has acknowledged all the errors under his leadership for a substantial amount of time. I've given every one of you 50 properties that have not changed in value or only changed one time in value in the last 10 years. That's not a system problem, that's an office problem. I've also given you a list of another 50 properties that have substantially jumped within 1 year. See, here's the thing. We talk about this 95 to 100. If there's properties that are valued to fall in that 95 to 105% range, something has to be overvalued, which means that some citizens are incurring damage. That's it. I didn't say there's a 95 to 105% lane that we have to fall into. The chief appraiser did. He also said he passed all of his tests. I just gave you 50 properties that have not changed in many, many years. How is that possible? What can I do? What can you do? What can you do? Well, we know who we can ask. This is an opportunity for you guys to put your stamp on whether or not you feel the performance of this office is acceptable or not. It's very simple. And it implores the people that can affect change to potentially look a little closer at what's going on in that office. You're going to own what happens today, whether this is tabled, whether nobody seconds it, whether nobody calls for it. You're going to own it one way or the other. It puts an onus on the individuals that have an opportunity to affect change. It puts the onus on them to look absolutely thoroughly at potentially making sure that all these properties are appraised fairly. How many more do you want? Another 100? What'll it take? Did any of y'all even look at it, what I gave you? This is real simple. This is not complicated. You're either happy with the performance of that office or you're not. Any questions? Any questions?
Any questions, Mr. Cooper? Thank you, Mr. Cooper. All right, Nora Olson.
It's Nova.
Sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry,
I know
misread it.
sometimes
I apologize.
with that. So. All right. My name's Nova. I actually live in Godly, but I have been quite involved in, trying to affect change in this for a new, what we call a value-added tax, as opposed to this CAD system. So this is near and dear to my heart. I'm also precinct chair for Precinct 30. So I've run for school board twice. So I've been trying to really be involved. And in that process, I've been doing block walking these last 2 years, talking to citizens, about what's going on, what do they see, what's been happening to them. And I'm not from Texas, so I'll tell you, the taxes are pretty scary, property-wise. So that was a new thing for me to learn, but I can tell you that, myself included, this is a serious, we've reached a very serious point in home ownership, and we do need some change. So I just want to say, most of us are unhappy with the taxes assessed and lack of accountability coming out of Washington, but often seem very unwilling to change locally, where you have the most power and the most effect, be that negative or positive. The new CAD board has made significant change in a short amount of time already, demonstrating true leadership. For example, investigating and ultimately getting ridiculous bank fees reduced. That was quick and easy and an incredible amount of money. And I believe $5,000 a month? $66,000 a year. Down to $100 a month. Wow. Okay? That's a huge amount of money, and that's one item that they were able to get done in a matter of months. One wonders why it has taken such a Herculean effort by many key people in the community. Why this? Why wasn't the appraiser leading changes a long time ago? I apologize. Our chief appraiser, after 23 years of opportunity, if he can't be a leader of fairness and righteousness, regardless of what might happen in Austin or other places, he should vacate his position and allow a person who does want to be that kind of a leader to take the place. We have to hold people accountable, and this is the way, this is where we can affect change. I can't do anything about Washington. What I can do something about is in my own county, in my own community. So, Ms. Beeson, you said the last time we met, we can't do anything. That's false. You're the only ones who have direct power to take action here. The people do not, with the exception of some of these entities that have put these people in as constituents, have any. We relied on taxing entities, you know, you guys on city councils and school boards to put people in these positions. So you are the taxing entity, you represent the people have spoken. You guys have an opportunity, like Mr. Cooper had said, to say, we can continue to allow this poor leadership. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Caleb Bowl.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm a retired Army veteran, and I served this country, and now I'm ready to serve citizens of Keene. I've lived here for 3 years and have seen a $70,000 increase in the value of my home. The increase in taxes has also increased my homeowner's insurance to almost $6,000 a year. If I was currently on the council, I would be voting to adopt the no new revenue increase for the citizens of Keene. I would also be voting for no confidence in the Johnson County Chief Appraiser. The council is here to serve the citizens and business only. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowl. All right, that's all the yellow cards that I have. All right, council, so we were here tonight to review, discuss, and consider a resolution stating the city's vote of no confidence in the Johnson County Appraisal District's chief appraiser. The resolution that's in my packet also still indicates the name of Toby Ford. Did that get changed? Do I just not have an updated copy? Because his name should have been removed. It was removed, okay. Okay, it's still in my copy then. Okay, so the only name that's listed in this resolution is the chief appraiser, Jim Husbeth. Okay, I just want to make sure that's clarified. Do you have the same copy? Okay, okay. All right, so council, are we ready to have a discussion on this? We've listened to the chief appraiser. We've listened to the citizens for the second time. We have tabled this issue the first time. I think tonight we need to come to some kind of decision or resolution. So I'd like to hear your thoughts at this time, if anyone would like to speak.
Okay, Mayor, I can say I can agree with most of the citizens, and I know the chief appraiser has spoken with us. And I can tell you, I've done a lot of walking the way I agree with one of the speakers. And every single year, I do face the taxpayer, homeowners face to face, answering some questions regarding taxes. Yes, we have issue with potholes, but the number one headache that we have to deal with, that citizens are dealing with, is that you can see the fear in their eyes, and that's why I had to do door knocking a few years ago, 2021, and I was pushing for tax freeze for seniors, because I kept hearing same story. You know, they have this beautiful home that they want to retire in, but because the taxes, the way the system works, they feel like they're going to be evicted or foreclosures, something if they don't pay their taxes, and it happens in the auction house. So I had to go and push for this. Yes, the council did pass the tax freeze for seniors. And every single year, I make an effort to go to most of our taxpayers, speak to them. And I can, if you haven't, it'd be hard for you to know what's going on here. And based on that and what I've heard from the taxpayers, citizens that have come tonight, it will be prudent. It will be something that will make the taxpayer to say that, you know, I move that the council adopt resolution stating that the city's vote on Johnson County's appraiser, or district chief appraiser, as a motion. If I can have a second, then.
To move that council adopt a resolution stating vote of no confidence in the Johnson Appraisal District's chief appraiser by Gutwa. So we need a second.
Addition. It only says Central Appraisal District. I don't trust the whole damn. take his name out. They ain't gonna get it from me. They'll get the whole thing or nothing. I know. They ain't gonna get it. They're gonna get the whole thing.
All right, Councilman Kutwa, are you okay with that change? You made a motion. He would like to change section 2 where it says, "The city council hereby expresses its lack of confidence in the Johnson County appraisal district system." Is that correct, Mr. Easley?
Okay.
Section 2, yeah. If you're okay with that change, I will call for a vote.
Yes.
Okay. All right, this time I'm going to review the motion again. We have a motion on the floor that council adopt a resolution stating the city's vote of no confidence in the Johnson County Appraisal District's chief appraiser with the change in resolution number 2024-453 under section 2 that it states the city council hereby expresses its lack of confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District and named Hudspeth chief. We have a second.
No.
I'm sorry.
It needs to be moved that council adopt a resolution stating the city's vote of no confidence in the Johnson County Appraisal
Just district? An extra word system? Okay.
No, you added in chief appraiser.
Yeah, we're removing the chief appraiser, yes.
About this resolution we have in front of us. The resolution will be rewritten then to reflect this motion.
Mr. Attorney, Mr. Brown, can we go ahead and make this change in a resolution and then have it adopted?
Yeah, I mean, you can adopt it today if it's crystal clear to staff if they're just ministerially making the changes. If you're not sure on the wording, then you can send it back to staff and have them bring it back the next council meeting and have the wording done. It just depends if everybody you need to know what you're voting on, in other words.
I don't know that we want to do this a third time, do we, council, and bring this back again? I think we can just safely make the change.
Yeah.
So the city council hereby expresses its lack of confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District and admonishes, and we'll leave that part? No, take that whole part out?
So basically, section 2 would just say the city council hereby expresses its lack of confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District, period.
And then just
Everything
end it.
else after that,
Everything else
scratch it
after
out.
that will be removed.
Right.
Okay. Councilman Gutwell, are you okay with that change? We're going to take everything out of section 1 sentence.
Well, and you would want to change the title too. So
And you gotta
resolution of the
change-
city council, the city of Keene, Texas, expressing no confidence in saying, instead of saying in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District.
In the, yeah,
Then-
okay.
Yeah, and just.
So take out in,
Right,
yeah,
take out
take
the-
out the chief appraiser and certain members of the board of directors, and just say in
Right.
the, okay.
Right, yeah, you can leave
Johnson
making
County Central
finding,
Appraisal District, okay.
finding effective date, but basically that would be, yeah.
Is that the only place in there it's written? I think so.
I think the fourth whereas clause, there's a reference to the chief appraiser too. You want to take that out.
Taken out. We're taking that out, and we're going to change the title up here to say that no confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District.
And I think, Mayor, the fourth whereas clause we need to change too. The fourth whereas clause, you would want to strike where it says, after it says other excessive expenditures, put a period, take out the, including the chief appraiser's employment contract with the potentially costly severance provision.
We could just strike that whole whereas, period. You ask me.
Yeah, that's true. You could just take just take that entire fourth whereas out.
Take out the 4 whereas out, okay?
Right. So it'd just be 3 whereases, and you take
All
out.
right, I'm going to get this for you, Ms. Russell. We're going to get this right. Okay, so, all right, so we are looking at the title at the very top. In the first paragraph, it's going to now state a resolution of the City Council of the City of Keene, Texas, expressing no confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District, making findings and providing an effective date. That's going to stay. Everything else, that sentence in the middle is going to remove. We're there. We're going to remove the fourth paragraph that says, whereas it is the desire of the City Council to express its displeasure, and then it goes on to mention the chief appraiser's employment contract. That whole paragraph's gone. Then under section 2, we're going to now state it as the city council hereby expresses its lack of confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District, period. The rest of that paragraph is going to go away.
Correct.
And those are the 3 changes.
Correct.
Are we all clear? Everybody got that? Okay, Mr. Gutwa, if you will then,
Yes, then I have a question, just a general one, just for clarification from the attorney. So by what we are doing, we are just watering it down, so it's like a blanket, like blaming everybody down there, even the employees that we are,
I'm
that are
blaming-
working over there.
Well, I don't know if it's watering it down. I mean, I don't want to speak for the people who made the motion. It's like their motion is to say, look, the displeasure or concern is directed at more than one person. It's the whole system, and that it's fundamentally fair to a particular person. They're just part of that system. I mean, that's the way I read the.
Council, please be sure that you're not being bullied into doing something you really don't want to do.
okay.
Oh, Councilman Bison, it's not bullying. For me, I've seen it firsthand. So I'm just making my decision based on what I've experienced and seen.
That's fine, Mr.
And I
Gutwa,
listen to both
but
sides.
Just realize we have been bullied tonight.
Okay, Mr. Gutwa, you can either amend your motion to
So-
include these changes, or you can.
So I'll amend it to
or you
include
can
the
withdraw your
changes.
motion. You want to amend it or withdraw it?
The changes to, I will support the amended changes.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Goodwin, amending changes that we have just, it's been seconded by Mr. Councilmember Easley. All right, at this time, I'm just going to call for a vote. All in favor? All right, we have 4. Those opposed? And those abstained. Okay, so we have a vote. We have a vote of 4 to 1. The motion is carried. A 7-minute recess. 7 minutes. Thank you all for coming. All right, I'm going to reconvene our meeting at 7:56 p.m. We are ready for agenda item number 7B, review, discuss, and consider possible action regarding updates or changes to the proposed budget for 2024-2025.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Wanted to follow up, so working on a 12 million, this sounds boring now. So let me go over just a couple changes, and then we'll go over some timeline stuff and take any questions.
Okay.
So you've received the proposed budget. The proposed budget has been posted, and as y'all well know, we have to meet very, very strict timelines regarding when it is posted and the public notices, et cetera, et cetera. So Holly's going to go over a little bit of that timeline, and then we'll get into the budget.
Okay, so at the next city council meeting on so September 19th, we will still have the public hearing for both the proposed budget for fiscal year 25 and a public hearing on the proposed tax rate for 2024. At that meeting, at that time, you may vote on the proposed budget, or you may make a motion to vote at a special called meeting for Tuesday, September 24th. But due to when the proposed budget was filed with my office, we cannot vote on the tax rate until 30 days after that posting date, but within 7 days of the public hearing. So Tuesday meets those requirements, Tuesday the 24th. So again, both public hearings will be on the 19th. You may vote on the budget at that time or move to hold the vote till the 24th and do both votes at that time. That's totally up to you. So that's
Okay.
our timeline.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Any questions on that?
I know that gets a little bit convoluted, but y'all are pros at that timeline. Okay, a couple things to note on the.
Do we need to
proposed-
vote on that tonight?
No.
Okay.
No, that will be the decision after the public hearing closes on the budget. You'll make that decision then.
Should put it in our calendar as a potential, right? That would be Tuesday, the 24th at 6, potential? Okay, thank you.
Yes, my understanding is Tuesday, the 24th at 6 p.m. was the best time for council to
Yeah,
meet.
not potential, it will be. That's the date that we need to vote on it. We're calling a special meeting. We have to call a special meeting. We can't do it on the 19th, so we're having to do it for the fiscal year end timeframe of when she received her information. So it'll just be a short meeting. We'll just either, that night, would you be showing up to vote on the proposed budget and the proposed of the tax rate? Or we're just for the tax rate, if we go ahead and do the budget on the 19th. And we'll just make it a quick meeting, show up, do that, and then be done.
Okay, and then a couple housekeeping items on budget. Start with the water and sewer side. We've got some really good news. We've got some state Bible contract discounted price, which is a 40% discount from the backhoe. So that totals about $104,000 for the backhoe. So for your consideration, some of the debate, should we buy it or finance it? With that amount off, and we already have, enough debt, I would rather not have additional debt, and we have enough built in this year, this next fiscal year, to just go ahead and pay that and leave a pretty healthy reserve in the water wastewater fund of about $200. Consideration, but guidance on that, whether to put it in, whether not, or lease purchase.
So if we put it in with 164,000, what would be the balance? How much would we still have after that,
Let me do some,
if we just pay for it in full?
roughly 200,000. Give you an
Okay.
exact number. was, I'm sorry. That's from our bottom line, underwater wastewater, after all the, yes, yes, after all the revenues have been put in and all the expenditures, right now, we're about $411,000 to the positive.
Yeah.
In water, wastewater, and let me do this.
So it's 164 from 411, right?
Correct, so $247,000.
247.
Positive.
Okay.
Count, so.
It would leave 247,000 if we decided not fund it out over, it was 4 years, we were gonna do it in or something. Okay, and if we decided just to make a full purchase. Council, what do you think about that?
I'd say make the full purchase.
Make the full purchase? Full purchase?
Yes.
Full purchase? All right, full purchase.
I mean,
The good news is, this being buy board pricing, we can get that pretty quick, in October, to get
Okay.
the tools they need for their job, so.
Okay,
All right,
okay.
clear on that.
There's your Christmas present, Derek.
There you go. Okay, one other thing, on the general fund side, we are currently in open enrollment, which ends tomorrow, and as you know, we kind of have to throw a dart at the board and take our best guess at who's going to sign up for what, as far as how many people are going to sign up for the family plan or spouse or individual, whether they're going to sign up for the PPO or the HSA. So we have, the way the numbers are trending, there's less people signing up, which we figured there would be, but less people signing up for the HSA. So our cost for insurance is going up slightly. The good news is we're still working on that Tahoe, fire truck Tahoe issue. And so we were able to remove that from 2025 to this year's budget, which was more than enough to offset that cost. So we're still sitting, I think when the dust settles, we're still going to be sitting at $110,000, $120,000 at that bottom line. And that was kind of a goal for me, to have at least 6 figures there for contingency. Okay. So those are the 2 remaining moving parts to the proposed budget.
So we have the Tahoe in this upcoming budget,
This current budget.
the current budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any other questions? Almost everything else has been settled. Those were the 2 main items. Again, Friday, open enrollment ends, and that's when we actually get the.
They do that fast, don't they? It opens and
Getting
closes
as fast as
fast.
we
Yeah,
can
it does.
To get the number settled, because
Okay.
that is a big number and a big
Yeah.
variation, so.
All right, council, any other questions or changes you would like to see in the budget? It looked great to me. Yes.
So if there's a little, at 102 Street, if there's a little bit of money left in the budget, I know the fire department has needed that fan.
I thought of that.
Would that be allowed to go those funds that are left over?
Well, I don't want to put the fire chief on the spot, but we are squeezing what we can to even make it to Tahoe. So even a $5,000 PPV fan, I mean, I'd have to prioritize the Tahoe, but again, I would have to defer to the fire chief on that. I'd take his discretion on that, but we're squeezing everything we can to get that out of this year to help next year's budget. So.
Can you sell the old Tahoe for $5,000?
Yeah, probably not. Maybe. All right, any other questions?
Any other questions, council? All right, I guess go ahead and make that one change, and then we'll bring it back for the September 19 meeting for a possible vote then and approval. And then we'll do the hearing, the public hearing on the tax rate at the same time, and then the tax rate vote may be on the September 24. All right, so we're just discussing this tonight. We don't need a motion. So we're just going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 7C. Review, discuss, and consider a professional services contract with Charles Williams as finance consultant. And I know that Mr. Williams harassed him because I said, Mr. Williams, you retired, you're not supposed to be here.
All right.
You just can't get enough of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good evening again. I just wanted to bring this to you. I thought it was important because this was kind of our stopgap. We've been advertising the position for about 3 months now, and you know, without much luck on highly qualified candidates. And so, you know, this was our contingency plan that once Mr. Williams retired, we could retain him under professional services agreement up to 30 hours a week, I believe, 35. Basically, to help serve as a finance director under professional services agreement. Runs for, takes it to a dollar amount threshold that I needed to bring it to council, just to let you know. Again, I would like to proceed forward with this agreement. Mr. Williams would remain on, just like our attorney or engineer services, stuff like that, our professional services. So, take any questions? As you know, this term extends beyond my term, so I didn't want to tie future without it going to council.
How did you come up with the rate, like do a survey of contract that
And have his previous salary as he retired.
Okay.
So that's how we came up
Okay.
with the hourly rate. So
Make a motion.
this is pretty standard.
Make a motion, Mayor. I move the council approve professional services contract with Charles Williams as financial consultant.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to move approval for council to approve the professional services contract with Charles Williams as consultant by Bells and a second by Foster. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Williams. I'm sorry, you're not retired yet. All right. That was the last of our, looks like, general discussion items. So agenda item number 8 is executive session. We do not have an executive session tonight, so we can skip 8 and 9 and move to agenda item number 10, requests for future agenda items. All right, so just note that we're going to have a special meeting on September 24 to either at least do the tax rate for sure, and possibly the budget if we don't get it finalized by the 19th. Is there anything else, council?
On our next scheduled council meeting, we have a couple of applications for city manager's position. Is it possible that maybe we could start interviewing?
What I spoke with Mr. Batla about before the meeting tonight is that we follow the procedure that we did last year that was given to us by the Human Resource Director, and that was at the next meeting. We could go ahead and call a committee that's going to meet after hours in the evenings and review those applicants, and then possibly interview them, and then bring the top candidates back before council at a future agenda item during executive session. That's what we did last year, and that was the procedure that we did.
I thought we were kind of on a time and to move as quickly as
Well,
possible.
we still have the option of selecting an interim city manager in the meantime, if we don't get somebody hired
Want to select an interim city manager.
before Mr. Batla
Let's
leaves,
face
but
it, it worked so well for us. Let's manager.
that committee can, within a short period of time, go over the applicants. Right now, we've got to have our Human Resource Director prepare them, because what she has to do is she has some boxes that she has to check on some sheets like she did last time we're posting that job for, such as education, experience, salary, all that. That's what they did, and then last year the committee met, and then that's what they went over. They went over the applicants, and then they interviewed them. And if it turns out we don't have that many, it's possible the committee could just send it right back to the council for an executive session interview and not interview them first. But usually this was a process that we involved the chiefs in, because this is going to be a position that affects them and who's going to be their next boss. And so what we did last time is the committee met, went over the applicants, we picked the top candidates, we then interviewed them with both chiefs present. And then from there, we had a discussion, picked the top candidates, and brought them to council for an executive session meeting for a second interview.
Remind me who's the committee?
I couldn't remember. I need to look it up again. Do you remember?
I was one of the committee.
Somebody else, and I
Well,
don't,
what did it comprise of?
Was
Is it,
Gwen,
was it you?
Councilman,
I don't
I
remember.
wasn't on the last one that, I was before, but
Okay,
we just
I
need
couldn't
to
remember.
what, three council members, the chief of police, chief of fire?
And we had, yeah.
and the
so-
mayor.
Yeah,
was
we
there
had the
too.
chief of police, the chief of, yes.
Owen Larson was on that.
Yes.
So if the mayor's on there with three council members, that's a
It's the
quorum.
mayor and two council is what
And
we
two
did.
council.
It was mayor and two council, less than a quorum.
Okay,
Yeah, we need to do it in less than a quorum form.
yeah.
And like I said, we're just going over whatever the human resource director gives us, critiquing them for compatibility for the position and do they have the requirements, and then just putting them before the council at the next meeting. So we could probably still do that in a short period of time. And we also
And-
have the special meeting we're calling on that Tuesday. If it had to have an executive to do an interview at that meeting as well, we could. Mr. Batla's last day is October 20. We still got a couple of months. We're okay.
And Mayor, regarding the same talking point, I can say that the process we had last time was reasonable because, yes, as the mayor said, we involved the directors because he has to be a good fit for the organization. So I think if we use the same format and not rush it, get the right candidate, it will give them a very good opportunity to be able to function even with the new council coming in because election is just around the corner. Thank you.
All right, anything else, council, for the next agenda?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
I'd like to see us follow through on the clothing collection boxes around town. We discussed that last time. Mr. Knott brought it to our attention, and I believe I requested to be put on this agenda, and I see it did. So I'd like to be.
Yeah, I think it was on the next meeting. Do you have that on the 19th? Yeah, I think they were still doing some research on it, and that's why it got held back.
over those if they're on private property. I mean, I would love to see them gone too. But, okay.
That's what we're going to discuss. So we're going to decide whether we want to regulate them and find out, yeah, the boxes that are there now, we're trying to decide why they're there and get on that, so then we can inform decision. All right, anything else, council?
Remember who brought it up, the last, about the mayor?
Since then, we've had a complaint filed, and I think that right now it's in the review of the hands of the city attorney, and he's going to review that complaint first before we take any further steps to move forward. So we need to kind of wait for him to do his report on that first before we take any further steps. Anything else, council?
Move to adjourn.
All right, it's 8:15 p.m. Meeting is adjourned.
Good work.
It was better.
Sorry, no disrespect to you and your.
That's fine, that's fine. I mean, you have the right to do that.